Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
But tell me, Eddie, is that a rabbit in your pocket or are you just happy to see me?
Hello, everybody. Like I promised, I'm only going to do Cringe Factory once a month because, dear God, I cannot do it any more than that from now on. So, going with the Predator and Predator 2 discussions, I figured let's move into another beloved first and second movie of what becomes a franchise, essentially. And that is Alien and Aliens. But I'm splitting the two up so that way we can devote one stream to Alien and then the second stream next week, either Wednesday or Thursday. I have to figure that out because a certain Warzone 2.0 drops the same day I would do this. So I'm going to figure out if I'm going to switch off the days and stream on Twitch Wednesday and then do the discussion stream Thursday or what. I'm going to let my guests know in case they're able to do it. The second movie as well, but that is the plan. That is the plan. So, Alien. I'm gonna say hello to the chat, but Alien, right? So I told Orange Chat and Stieg behind the scenes. First off, right off the bat, gun to your head. I'm sorry with you, Orange Chat. Gun to your head. Alien or Aliens?
No, spare him. Take me first.
Oh, put your pants back on. Hold your horses. So, gun to your head.
What?
Alien or Aliens?
Aliens.
All right. Now, there's no real wrong answer because they're tonally different. They're pretty much tonally different. So, it all be based on your preference of do you prefer more of the psychological horror thriller, essentially, that is Alien. Because I will argue till the day I die that Alien belongs in the horror movie section. It's pretty much a horror movie set in space.
And the other one is sci-fi action.
Yeah, sci-fi action. So it all depends on your preference, pretty much. It all depends on your preference. There's no wrong answer. But your reason for saying Aliens?
Because, well, one, I'm a Bill Paxton fan. Two, it had a better pace, in my opinion, than Aliens. It didn't take forever to get into the interesting bits of it.
Not really.
I don't get me wrong. I love Alien for what it is. It's just Aliens grabbed my attention a lot more than Alien.
Okay. And Stieg?
Well,
all right.
Alien definitely had the most impact on me when I watched it the first time. But Aliens has way more rewatchability, I think. But both movies are a 10 out of 10 for me. So next week I'll say something else, but this week I'll go with Aliens.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to be the odd one out. I prefer Alien. I've always preferred the more slower paced psychological horror aspect. And I know I saw Keeling in the chat saying that Alien is sci-fi horror. I will argue, yes, there's sci-fi about it, but the only thing that makes it sci-fi is the fact that it's set in space. Because you could take that premise, Of an
Well,
unknown
they have
creature.
the cryo sleep though.
So, I'm saying it takes place in space. That is the cryosleep in the future, essentially. So that's really the only two sci-fi elements about it, because you can take that premise of a contained environment with no easy escape and put that premise on Earth. They've done it in movies set underneath, like underwater of some sort, where it's like not easy to escape from, and it's a survival movie essentially.
Yeah, you basically want to isolate the characters so they just don't run away in a straight line.
Yeah, so
Same
that's
thing
why
with
that's why I'm
Jaws. They
saying.
put them on a boat.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying it's like that premise. Like the only thing that makes it sci-fi is the fact that it's set in space and in the future, pretty much, or like quote unquote the future. Other than that, you could take the contained atmosphere, environment, place them in a position where it's like they are isolated, and there's no easy escape.
Well,
they've done it before.
You do have the cryo sleep and the AI. That's definitely.
I did say that. I'm saying like those are the only sci-fi elements, but like things like that where you could have technological equipment, much like AI, in the future set underneath the water. So it's like it doesn't necessarily have to be up in space. Is my point.
It's definitely. I'd say it's like 85% horror, 15% sci-fi. Do you agree with that?
Kind of works. Kind of works.
So,
although I will say this, Aliens actually tied in the Terminator franchise with the Alien franchise because they mentioned a similar distributor of Ash's particular design or model. It was called Hyperdyne in Aliens, but we all know that Skynet was from Cyberdyne. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's probably an Easter egg, though.
It definitely was. But also, Alien Resurrection actually did connect Terminator and Alien together because they made a comic sequel after it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I would say hello to the chat, but my computer's acting pretty friggin' slow right now. So, but I'm gonna say hello to the chat.
You're a bit pixely today.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. My Wi-Fi signal is strong, but fucking StreamYard decides it's gonna like give me fucking error messages.
I don't know why StreamYard hates you so much. Maybe because you're always making fun of it.
Mara and Super VGA graphics.
Apologize, Mara.
No, I'm not. Vader Fanatic, hello. Good to see you. Trey Courtney says, hey, Mara, and you guys are ready for this lit discussion about one of the best horror films ever made. Awesome. Dan Blackroyd, in space, no one can hear you stream. Yes. Well, stream, like, even on Earth, no one can hear me fucking stream because StreamYard hates me. So, Jaluk, hello. Ms. Martin Muses, what's up? Crew Expendable. Yes, I remember that message.
Yep.
Keely, hello. Alien is a masterpiece. Yep, it pretty much is, in my opinion. I know no film is like arguably perfect, but some subjectively are close.
70s horror really did have high quality shit back then, especially when it came to psychological horror.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the 70s are probably the best. It's the best decade for actual horror movies.
With one exception in the 80s, which was Silver Bullet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I will die on that hill.
Hello? Well, maybe if she invites me, if I can fit it into my schedule, but let me know, Keith. Dan likes Aliens. Trey says Alien. Says Ronan says Alien. Chickawatt says I love Alien, but I believe Aliens is an overall better movie. Why not both? I say one. Soul Assassin, hey everybody, please hit the like button. Thank you. Soul Assassin, hope everyone's doing well, and that is all right. I'm caught up with the chat pretty much. Yeah, this is
another reason why Aliens is superior, because it has one of the best freaking lines where what's his name asks, oh god, I can't remember her damn name, Vasquez, I think it is, if she's ever been with a man, and she's like, no, have you?
No, like I know what line you're talking about because Bill Paxton's the one who asked
Yeah.
the question, and he said, "Have you ever been mistaken for a man?"
Or
And
mistaken for a man, yeah.
Yeah, she's like doing pull-ups, and she like releases her grip and like no, have you?
Yeah.
It's like one of the best exchanges.
Weird
The
question
actress
too, though. I
incidentally
mean, she has
plays her foster mom in Terminator 2. So
like
Yep.
E cups. I mean, come on. They're releasing a Vasquez prequel novel.
No shit.
Yes. Maybe it's already out. I hope it's not woke though. But according to James Cameron, Vasquez was part of a street gang before she became a Marine. So I'm hoping they stick with that.
Well, knowing how he's been acting in the last few years with certain shit. Dark Fate.
I don't think he has anything to do with the book though. But in the for the movie, her background was that she was part of a street gang.
Oh, would make sense with that bandana she has.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, we'll be talking about those characters.
Yeah. Next week.
Once we get to Alien, because I do have a shirt somewhere. I have no idea where it is, but I do have a shirt somewhere with the Game Over line. Game Over Man, Game Over. But it's a xenomorph playing a video game. It says Game Over Man, Game Over. So Damien says, I cryo hid my sister's hamster in the freezer 10 years ago. Gonna wake it up and surprise her with it for Christmas this year. Okay, Damien. Mr. Bentham, hello. Vanya says, Aliens for you. Awesome. She's also in Lethal Weapon 2. Yep. Aliens, Michael Biehn. Yep. She's also in the first Terminator. First Terminator.
And Titanic and Near Dark.
Vanj is one of my loyals on my channel. Yep.
Where did the franchise go wrong? I'd say beginning with the theatrical cut of Aliens 3.
Yeah.
Because the director's cut actually fixes some things, but for the most part, the theatrical cut is where it starts to go wrong, and then really wrong with Alien Resurrection.
Yeah.
So,
Alien Resurrection, though, is definitely a good guilty pleasure movie.
Definitely. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
I like Greg Darden's character in that one.
So, but what was I going to say? Okay, so I'm going to bring up the film. Right, so we've kind of gone over favorites of the two real fast, but so now let's go get into basically our overall thoughts of the movie as a whole before we go into specifics with the characters and the director and the xenomorph itself. So I'll start with Stieg this time. What are your overall thoughts while I bring up the movie through Amazon? Just kind of
My thoughts of the xenomorph?
Well, no, the movie overall.
Oh, well, 10 out of 10. It's not that many jump scares. It's all atmosphere, and I've said this on streams before in horror movies. It's more frightening when you don't see, right?
Mm-hmm.
The stuff you don't see always scares you the most, and I think that ties into how people can be afraid of the dark. Because they imagine what might be there,
Yeah.
And because your senses are deprived in the dark, and your adrenaline goes up, and so it feeds on the imagination of the viewer, which can be, if done right, that's powerful shit.
Mm-hmm. Hello, Len. Good to see you. Like Jaws, it builds up the alien so well. Yeah, that's what one of the things I love about it is that you don't see the alien for much of the film. So you're left to literally your own imagination on what this creature could look like. Like you could maybe gauge based on how the chestbuster looks a little bit. But your impression is that's the size, because the crew is looking for something that size. So when they find the alien as it is,
that's right.
It's a shock.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is something I've noticed a bit after we got Blu-rays. I don't think horror movies are benefiting too much from Blu-rays because if you think about it, when you watched the old horror movies on VHS,
Mm-hmm.
you had more like a grainy picture. And I
Mhm.
always felt that added to it because the darker scenes looked way darker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they contrast them when they bring them onto Blu-ray.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it gains a lot of visuals, but it also loses some of the, I don't know, eeriness maybe. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it kind of like makes it's kind of like with Wizard of Oz for me, where it's like you know deep down when you're watching it that the sets are fake, that they're not really in Oz, but with the Blu-rays and like the high def, the fact that there are sets like really stands out.
Yeah,
So
it's like the high
kind of ruins
definition
that.
also reveals mistakes or
Yeah.
stuff you're not supposed to notice.
Yeah. Jones is the best character. Yeah, I like Jones. I like Jones.
There's a Clemens in Alien 3.
Mm-hmm.
That's a way better name.
And no. Hey, Glam Dude.
I absolutely love the name 85 in Aliens 3.
But what are your overall thoughts, Orange Chat? Like, we have like a put up the title pretty much on screen. Alien.
Alien, I'll agree with Stig for the most part, not with the scoring as a perfect 10. I mean, I always do 3-tiered reviews: objective, subjective, moviegoer. Moviegoer, it is definitely a 10 out of 10. Subjective, I would put it at a 9.5 out of 10 because the pacing does bother me a little bit. The whole freaking introduction and title sequence that the movie does is like freaking 5 to 6 minutes long, almost. And it really does, it does a good job at setting up the characters. Don't get me wrong. The writing is very well done. However, it really does, objectively, without bias, the movie does kind of, the pacing kills it. It builds up, yes. It does do the psychological build, yes. But when you are, or if this is a horror movie and you spend like 30 minutes and there's no horror, it makes you wonder. It's like, when are you getting to the horror here? But overall, the movie is a classic. I will not disagree with that.
Mm-hmm. Any rhetorical thrill? See, like I said, I don't mind the slow build-up because, like, yes, the poster says in space no one can hear you scream, but for the most part, just the build-up alone and the fact that it's set in space, like, you know, like, it doesn't exactly mean it's going to gravitate more towards the horror element as much as it does. It just tells it like builds up that, hey, these people have been in cryosleep for like so many years. This is their job. These are their ranks. When I say jobs, I mean their positions, more or less. Like, you know, Ripley's a warrant officer. Ash is the I can't remember what his exact title is, but like in the science division of sorts. He's like, you know, basically
He is science division, yeah.
Yeah.
Would you agree that that slow build-ups leads to a better climax?
Doesn't it always?
All right. Okay. But anyway, but speaking of the characters, this cast has just enough where it's not too much is happening, and you can really pretty much get to know the personalities of each of the characters as well as their positions and how, like, you know, basically they tell you know the responsibility they have. And we'll start with the big one, the obvious, the one that we like to bring up when people claim that there were no strong women prior to 2016 or whatever year they'd like to pick within Marvel, Disney and Marvel and so forth, and that is Ripley. Ripley. First name is Ellen, so Ellen Ripley, but generally is known as Ripley, played by Sigourney Weaver, who incidentally got the role because she impressed them so much with her audition, since the character was originally supposed to be male. The character was originally written as a male. So, but she came in, I can't remember what line she read for her, but she came in right. I would have had to been at least for Lambert, and her
I think she did
presence.
come in for Lambert. Yeah.
Yeah, her presence wowed the casting so much that they like, you know what? Like we're going to change Ripley from a male to female. And can you tell the difference? The only time that you can really tell a difference in terms of the energy from Ripley, and that is in Aliens, because of and we'll go into this in detail next week, and that is the dynamic she has with Newt, the motherly instinct she has with Newt.
Well, the cat too.
The audition for Sigourney Weaver is also worth noting because I do remember it's actually in the Movies Anywhere library that I have Alien attached to.
Mm-hmm.
They show different behind the scenes test screens and whatnot. There's one scene where she just pulls the shirt off, and because they also did explain that it's like when you're out there in the frontier, even if you're married, chances are you're going to be freaking banging just to stay sane.
Mm-hmm. There was a bit of trivia about that because there was a scene that was supposed to be shot between her and Dallas. And Tom Skerritt actually talked to Ridley Scott. Would you move forward? Oh, I hate this so much. Tom Skerritt actually talked to Ridley Scott and said, like, you know, this doesn't move the narrative along. And like, you know, and his argument was what's the wording that was used? I'm trying to find the trivia for it.
I think there was also a scene shot with Lambert where she asks Lambert, "Have you ever slept with Ash?"
Yeah, like that was part of it. So I'm trying to find what Tom Skerritt said. Oh, like, you know, it's thinking that it had added nothing to the narrative and only interrupted the flow of the movie. So it's like, while it's alluded to that, yeah, like, you know, if you're up there for so long, you can only be absent for that, like, you know, so long when you're gone for years at a time, because it's space and time works differently from space to how it is on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like beyond the realm of possibility, and they kind of like allude to that a little bit, but for the most part, the sex scene they originally going to have between Ripley and Dallas was ultimately cut after Tom Skerritt talked with Ridley Scott about it. Like, you know, it did say it adds nothing. It really adds nothing, and I would tend to agree. I wouldn't have cared if it had been included, but yeah, I know it's in the book, but they didn't film it. Like, it was originally set to be filmed. And I wouldn't have cared if it had been in the film, but for the most part, I agree with Tom Skerritt that it like would have added nothing, really. It would have added nothing. It was like, okay, they were out there for so long and they're going to bang. All right, fine. The fact that it was removed and it's not even noticed or even thought about in terms of like any romantic connections between the characters. It's like, you know, again, it goes to his point, pretty much. Tom Skerritt's point. Where it was removed and it didn't affect anything. So, but speaking of Dallas, what do you think of Dallas? Because I have Tom Skerritt next on my list. So,
Tom Skerritt did a great job.
He's a captain, pretty much.
Yeah.
Great job, bland character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm trying to find that's Lambert.
I like that he's not a know-it-all. He's completely out of his depth. He even kind of Googles what to do, right?
Yeah, right here. I mean, at some point, not right here, but like at some point, he goes into this room where Mother is,
makes it
and he tries to
makes
figure
it
out what's going
believable.
on.
He's not trained for that. No.
Yeah.
Nobody's trained for that situation, so it's believable. But I still thought it was kind of dull. The character.
Mm-hmm.
He also definitely gives off that 70s Grizzly Adams kind of look.
Mm-hmm. So,
but I will say this: his character, he does definitely care for his crew, and he does have that survival instinct. I mean, he straight up asks Mother in this movie, "It's like, what are my chances? Does not
Yeah.
compute.
Mm-hmm. And I like that. Like, yeah, the character is dull, but at the same time, it's like it's kind of like Jack Burton in Big Trouble in Little China in a way where he is like thrown into a world where he's completely out of his depth. Like here,
Mhm.
like his job, like it's like what Soul Assassin says. Like he's a typical manager of sorts who wants to get the job done and get home and get paid. Pretty much, he's not really
Yeah.
a hero. He's not or anything like that. He's not like a super soldier or what have you. He just runs the ship, make sure they get the job done so they can get home. And once the shit literally goes down with the xenomorph, that like in turn makes him completely out of his elements. He's now not only the captain in the sense that he's like, in charge, but he's a leader. So, and he's being looked to by his crew for answers, and he has nothing because this is like a completely different situation that they're finding themselves in. Like they never expected at all to encounter any alien being of sorts when they were going to investigate the distress signal they were getting, which is like the space jockey, the famous space jockey scene,
which is not in the book. The space jockey. The book is based on the first draft of the script, I think, and it has one scene in there that I wish they had kept for the movie. They track down the signal in the ship and turn it off.
Mm-hmm.
Because they would be following the signal, wouldn't they?
Mm-hmm.
I wish they had kept that little bit in the movie. It might even be a deleted scene, to be honest. But the space jockey wasn't there in the book.
Mm-hmm. So it just added a bigger mystery element, which was attempted to be answered in the more recent Alien movies, which I don't think did a good job. But for the most part, it was like one of those added, how do I put this? Just added uncertainties around the alien creature because that's where they also find the eggs. So you're wondering what the connection is between the space jockey, how the space jockey came to be there, and so forth. And it's kind of like just kind of forgotten until the recent alien movies like Prometheus and Alien Covenant. So
the derelict ship, and this is from Ridley Scott in an interview from way back. The derelict ship that they find in this movie is not crashed; it is parked. Ridley Scott said that, which is why the eggs haven't bounced around, right?
Yeah. So
he's doing something. He's basically growing aliens, and seems to have been infected. Probably look to take off because he's sitting in the pilot chair.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then something happens. Like you don't know what happens, but you see there's obviously something that's happened to this creature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it basically happened when he was trying to take off.
Yeah.
Bones were bent straight out as if something exploded out of him. This is the line I believe they used.
And two of the ones who volunteer, who go with Dallas to investigate, are these two characters, which we're going to go into. First one being Kane, John Hurt, who has one of the most infamous scenes of all time in movie history, which is actually filmed.
He recreated that scene on a bench in a park for fun. Not kidding.
But that scene itself, I don't know if, because I was reading some trivia for this, not too many people know this, but that scene itself was filmed twice. It's like two takes. Because the chest buster, when it's supposed to come out, something malfunctioned and it didn't quite come out. So that initial scene where you see the blood go over but nothing come out, that was from the first take. Ridley Scott kept it in. It's just like, hey, the chest, but the creature itself is struggling to get out, to exit John Hurt's body because it's going through. If you think about it, it's going through the breastbone.
Sinew,
it's going through, It's going through that.
It has to get through the
Um,
shirt as well.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's
that,
going to struggle, and it makes sense. It makes sense that they kept at least that part in, and then that slight cut, from that point on, is from the second take when chest burster actually comes out.
Which is kind of something they screw up in the later movies, that the alien just bursts out with no struggle.
Yeah. One of the
Yeah.
things that they also screwed up in the other or later movies was that the facehugger dies right next to the host. It's like this one literally crawled out or crawled off and hid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Mm-hmm. But it did the same thing. Well, no, it didn't do the same thing, but I thought like in the second one they kind of it acted like that, and then in later movies they kind of just forgot about that. It's it's just like it laid its egg or it laid whatever and it died.
Yeah, and the aliens grow up way too fast in the newer movies, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It grows up
I mean, there
fast
is-
in this one too, but not that fast.
Yeah, it is rapid, and that's part of what I love about the build up, and that is like when they go to search for the creature, they're searching for something they think is too small because they're not expecting it to be. I don't like it's actually technically bigger than human size, but as big as it was. So they're looking around for this little thing that they think that they could easily take out. It's on a ship. All they have to do is find it and kill it, essentially. But. So John Hurt, like I said, we're going to that scene as one of the most famous, and he's like with Lambert. Like Lambert's a navigator, and he's with her. That's his position on the ship, pretty much. See the subtitles there, contacting traffic control, things like that, and determining their position and everything. And I love how you brought up, like we're going to Lambert. Dallas's death scene. He made two mistakes, and we'll go. My feelings. He made two mistakes. One, going in by himself. All right, going in by himself. And two, taking directions from Lambert, who obviously can't give directions.
Yeah, that annoyed the fuck out of me.
He's not stable in the slightest.
It's right there. It's right there.
No, not that way.
There's four directions. Which
She was after her shit went to pot with or on that ship, Lambert just became, I don't know, Scream Queen wannabe, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
She just started freaking out over everything, man.
Mm-hmm. Hey Tim, yeah. So it's like for the most part, I like her character when she's calm. When she's calm, I like her character, but when she's like, when her character obviously needs a slap in the face to calm her down, I'm like,
yeah.
It's like
arguably one of the better actors in the movie, though.
I'm not saying like
she could definitely sell hysteria.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that it's necessarily a negative because I believe, I'm not saying that everyone has to be calm necessarily. Like there isn't going to be that little bit amount of hysteria because again, they're all thrust into a situation where they've never had to prepared for.
No.
The only things that they've had to prepare for is their jobs, essentially.
I just pulled up incubation period for an xenomorph embryo, which is 17 to 24 hours after laying, or from lay to hatch, basically. Now, let me just look up not gestation, but maturation.
So, but
yeah, continue on.
Yeah, so I'm basically just like going through the characters without really going into details because the only really details at least thus far in the film, and that is like their positions and the fact that they've you could at least speculate that they've been a crew for a good while because they know each other's personalities. Parker, played by Yaphet Kotto, as per the trivia. Hey, Sam, hello, and I'm saying I'm not saying as a negative, like oh my gosh, she was such an annoying character, but at the same time, it was like I preferred her when she's a little bit more calm, and just kind of went a little bit over the top with the hysteria.
Isn't Ash new?
Yeah, Ash is new. I'm saying for the most part, like you can gauge, like like the crew is new. However, Ash wasn't like I should say the bulk of the crew, because I have Ash is last. Ash is last, pretty much. The bulk of the crew: Ripley, Dallas, Kane, Lambert, Brett, and Parker. They know each other's ins and outs. Put it that way. Personalities. They know their little quirks, what buttons they can push, and things like that. And you see how Parker kind of annoys Ripley, riles her. Like he purposely goes out of his way to rile her up. And as per the trivia that I read, that he was actually told by Ridley Scott, off to annoy Sigourney Weaver off screen. So there was that tension between the two. So you could they there's some, how do I put this? See, some tension, a little bit of a fact that it's they've worked around each other long enough that Parker knows which buttons to push, pretty much. But yeah, so that kind of leads into Brett and Parker, because those two kind of basically hang out with each other. They're basically the technicians, the techs, maintenance, pretty much, of the crew. So, hey, Alphamore and Keep Malik, hello. We're discussing Alien. So we're going through the characters right now. So Brett and Parker, okay? They're basically if you were to think about this, they are, I would say, the maintenance. They're the maintenance crew. They're the ones that are tasked to fix things when shit goes wrong. In the hierarchy, they're probably on the lower end, the lower rung in terms of pay, because
they're mechanics.
The mechanics. You have Lambert as a navigator. Kane's similar in position to Lambert. Ripley is a warrant officer. Dallas is the captain, essentially. He's the manager. Ash is the science officer. So they're basically the grunts of the crew. So you get that feeling where they are. There is a little bit of resentment with those characters, and these in terms towards the other characters, but without no real animosity. It's just more about basically pay.
Just
Pretty
pulled
much,
up their positions. Captain Dallas, Executive Officer Kane, Warrant Officer Ripley, Navigator Lambert, Science Officer Ash, and Engineers Parker and Brett.
Yeah, they're engineers. They're basically, like I said, they're basically the mechanics of the crew. When the scene where Parker and Brett are talking to Ripley about the pay they'll get when they get back, and she's trying to tell them you'll get what's coming to you, you'll get what you signed up for, things like that. Don't worry about it, things like that. And it's hey,
I love how they're playing around with her.
they're basically playing around with her. And you get the feeling there is that genuine a little bit of resentment, because it's they're called on to fix shit when it goes wrong, but then they're not exactly treated with the respect that they think they kind of deserve, being in their position, because if they don't keep the ship running, then there is no ship, pretty much.
Essentially, they're low on the rungs, but they're also the most important.
Yeah, so I'm saying it's you have that dynamic. So, what did you So you guys, just the two together, Brett and Parker, because like I said, you never really saw one without the other, pretty much. So, what do you think of their dynamic? Those characters, Yaphet Kotto's Parker, and Harry Dean Stanton's Brett, who incidentally I believe played the father in the original Red Dawn. He had a small role, but I believe he was the father in that movie. Anyway, what do you think of their dynamic?
Kotto has played a Bond villain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in Roger Moore's first movie.
I like both of them, honestly, because they just get along very well. They're doing what they're doing. They know their roles, and they're not gonna hop out of it. But they're also, Brett's kind of an idiot when they go searching for the thing and they find the cat, Jonesy, and it's no, don't let it go. What? It was just a cat. And they laugh at. They're like, "Oh my god, man! We needed to get the cat because otherwise we could pick it up again on the damn movement scanner."
Yeah. Yeah, it's like right here, it's like we could have to share to their one. They're actually talking. At one point in the scene, they're talking about their pay.
Yeah.
Like you said, Orange Hat. They're the lowest rung in terms of hierarchy, but they're the most important because again, if the ship doesn't run,
Exactly. It's like
there's no job. There's no job.
Yeah.
So it's like,
not to mention Ash freaking points out to him when they first get the whole distress signal. It's like if we do get a signal like this, we have to investigate it under penalty of total forfeiture of shares. I mean, the company basically makes it impossible for you to not look into something if there's something out there.
yeah. So, and that leads us into Ash. So, before we even find out Ash's true purpose, what did you think of the character? Because is he Ian Holm? He's a science officer, and he's new. He's new to the crew. He was a very, very, very late addition prior to them leaving.
Well, I think it was either 2 hours or 2 days.
He seems to be.
Well, considering like
took off.
considering the prep for like any expedition, like the fact that even it being like a day or two and like prior to like leaving, that's pretty late to the game. So it's
Yeah.
So
Well, he seems to be purposefully low key around everyone. He's trying to get along with everyone, not ruffle any feathers. It's just almost like he wants to stay in the background.
Yeah.
Right? And there's a reason for it.
There's also the private moments that you see with him. There's the one moment where he's running in place where he has. Oh, sorry, got a call. Anyway, there was that moment where he's looking at the thing, and then Ripley comes to visit, and it's like, please don't do that. She's like, oh, I'm sorry, and you get there's something off about him before there's something off about him, you know. And that is actually one of the best ways that Ian Holm did that role. I mean, he really did it well.
Yeah, because before even the revelation, like you could at least argue that part of the reason why he might have been a bit standoffish, part of the reason why he might have been in the background is because he does not know the crew, and he might not want to ruffle feathers or anything like that because he's like recently been added. So it's like whenever you're put into a situation where you don't know anybody in the room or as part of whatever task you're going to perform, at least I can only speak from my personal experience. I generally, based people I probably are not going to, I guess, believe this, or based on my presence on Twitter and things like that, or how I am on streams. But for the most part, whenever I'm put into situations where I don't know the people around me that well or anything, I become a bit more reserved. Personally, I become a bit more reserved because I'm getting a feel for the different personalities of the people. So like what I might joke about around someone or some people, one particular group, I might not be able to joke about around another particular group. And that's what I do. I kind of gauge the situation. I read the room. I read the dynamics. And that's, and like before I okay, this group, I can be myself. Or this group, I kind of have to reel it back a little bit. I kind of can't exactly drop the F-bomb every other word or the say cunt as much as I do on Twitch while I'm gaming, things like that. All right? I gauge that. So I like how they at least, because he is standoffish. You do notice that. You pick up on that. But at the same time, I could buy, even before the reveal, why he's like that based on basically human psychology.
There is also those random moments of his, like when they go to look for the ship. They're like, "Can you read me?" He's on the bridge. He's like, "Just yeah. I can see you." And it's like, okay, that's odd, but not out of the ordinary.
Like odd, but not out of the ordinary. And I think Ian Holm sells it. So it's like you do notice the little the little idiosyncrasies here and there with this character, but like I said, for the most part, it's I can believe he would be acting certain ways in situations because he doesn't know these people that well. He was, and now like they're in a position here, and I skipped to this scene where they're off course. They're realizing they're off course. They had set Mother on a particular course of action, all right, course, and Mother's interrupted the course. Why? Because they received a distress signal, and as per, like as Ash points out, the regulation from the company they work for, and so forth, that Mother automatically deviates from that course to go check it out.
If it's intelligent life or the possibility of such.
Yeah. So, yes. And that's like what they're talking about here. The fact that there could be some form of intelligent life possibly needing a rescue. They don't know. And they're determining
this is definitely not Pennsylvania.
Say that again.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to go into politics or anything like that. But
no,
anyway.
we're not.
Anyway.
Please no.
Yeah. Anyway, like that's what they're talking about in this scene without going into details. Pretty much, like it's like. So you have the engineers. They're not exactly happy about this because they just want to do the job and get paid, things like that. So and you have Dallas trying to kind of like get them all to kind of come together, things like that. Like we got it's like unfortunately we're in this position where we have to do this, pretty much. All right.
Yeah.
So like I said, I'm only gonna be touching on scenes from the movie. I'm not really gonna go scene by scene or anything like that. So I really want to get to one of the most infamous scenes. Acoustical beam repeats at 12. So basically, it's picked up this right every 12 seconds, and it's locked onto it, and it's deviated course because of it. Yeah. So I'm just gonna skip through this. Mm-hmm.
Another fun fact about the whole Alien or this particular universe of this movie. When the Nostromo returns home, it doesn't land at NASA or in Texas or Houston or wherever. It lands in freaking Antarctica.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's where that's where they were heading. It's like Antarctica landing or command or whatever.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool to learn.
Yeah, I'm trying to
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I just recently watched the movie.
Yeah, so. Oh, here's where they're messing with Ripley. Start messing with Ripley. I can say I'm skipping through scenes, so I'm not. It does have a pretty long build up before they get to.
She learns it's a warning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Instead of a distress call, it's like, yeah, stay away, don't come here.
Yeah, but they go anyway because per horror movie tropes, you go investigate anyway, even though everything about it tells you, stay away.
But that's also part of the whole suspense of the movie. It's because. Yeah. She asks Ash, has Mother been able to decrypt this damn thing yet?
Yeah.
No, it's kind of odd. Well, I'll take a freaking stab at it then. She does it in like less than 20 minutes. And it's like, yeah, this is a warning?
Yeah.
What the fuck? How did Mother not be able to pull that together?
Yeah, so like again, it also sets up the mystery because she's figuring it out. So you would think the AI would be able to figure it out. So it sets up that something either went wrong, or perhaps Mother was manipulated. Because while it is AI, artificial intelligence, it can be manipulated.
Oh yeah.
But at the same time, it's like it opens that premise up. But right now, here, the space jockey,
which is, in my opinion, the eeriest scene in the movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, look how big it is in comparison to them. Like.
Yeah, well, the actors you see in the shot are kids.
That is true.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, his Ridley Scott's two sons.
Yep.
To put the perspective, like for that perspective. So, but it's, at the same time, it's like this based on that perspective. Look how in comparison, how big that thing is in comparison to the crew.
J.J. Abrams would actually go on to use that kind of method in filming where you shoot certain scenes to make the scale look big. You're actually using kids for certain shots.
Peter Jackson used midgets.
Yep.
I believe.
Scale doubles.
Yeah. So it's not like so.
It's movie magic.
Yeah.
Abracadabra.
Prior to green screens and lens flares, JJ, this is what you could fucking do if you like stop that shit.
Mm-hmm.
But here it is. All right, and again, something looks like I'm gonna see if I can get like a good shot of but it looks like that chest area right there. Something came
Busted
out.
right out. Yeah.
Yeah, busted right out of it. You have to and you find out, I believe, in the second one. Was it the second one, or something, or at least like they add this to the lore for the xenomorph that it takes on the characteristics of whatever it has, the chest bust, the facehugger is impregnated.
I think it's the third one.
The third one, all right.
Yeah,
So I
because
know
that's when it impregnates a
dog.
dog, or alternatively a bull, depending on which version.
Yeah, which I was again not really a fan of because I don't like when things like that happen to alien animals, but at the same time, like that's where again it takes on, it adds that element where it's like, okay, so like it looks like this xenomorph looks like this because the facehugger impregnated a human. Okay, so it's going to look like this because it impregnated an animal, and so forth. So that's why you have the different looking xenomorphs that are added to the universe itself. Okay, going from the third one. Okay, yeah, I knew it was I couldn't remember which one.
I wonder what the xenomorph that popped out of that one looked like.
Yeah, I'm saying it's again, we're just seeing the skeletal remains. We're not exactly seeing what the creature itself looked like, but given how big it is,
yeah,
and you would have the xenomorph, knowing what we know about that those creatures taking on the characteristics or physical traits, essentially, of whatever the facehugger impregnated. It's like you'd imagine how big that xenomorph would have gotten, or what it would have looked like. It would have been maybe not massive, maybe not that big, but pretty big, damn big, in comparison. Because it would have taken on that. So. So that's the thing. It's like they set this up, and then I guess Ridley Scott tried to answer those questions in Prometheus and Alien Covenant and kind of failed miserably. So I don't think the aliens themselves necessarily need food. So it wouldn't exactly starve, but you'd have to wonder where it is. Because they're finding the space jockey.
Those 7 mini movies that they made with Alien, they explain that facehuggers can survive as long as they need to in order to actually pass on the embryo, and then they die. However, I do not know the longevity of a xenomorph because they go for thousands of years. There's queens in the games that are freaking hundreds of years old, craggly and all that shit.
Ridley Scott said that, well, at the end of the movie, the alien seems kind of slow.
Yes.
He said it's because it's at the end of its life cycle.
Yeah, he wanted it to have a shortened life cycle, but then they ended up changing a lot of that shit.
Yeah.
When it became bigger.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was stasis until a host appeared. Yeah. So basically, like Orange Hat said, they stay. The eggs, the facehuggers within the egg stay in a form of stasis until something triggers them, like what Kane does. All right, when while they're hibernating, and they realize that hey, there's a host nearby. There's a live host nearby.
The xenomorph that came out of the space jockey would look pretty much the same as the one in this movie, but bigger probably because, according to the Prometheus movie, we are the space jockeys, kind of in terms of DNA.
Slightly, yeah.
So that would mean it would just be a bigger one. Well, we do see one at the end of Prometheus.
Deacon.
Yeah, that's what it would look like.
But that wasn't from a standard facehugger.
Oh, that's true.
That was from a proto-face.
The hentai thing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
also, if you look at that space jockey, its freaking nose thing goes all the way down its chest.
Yeah, so I'm trying to skip through scenes. I want to get to where the Kane falls into the eggs because they're exploring.
Yeah, just cover with it. Yeah.
Yeah, so see, it's like this little mist right here. He broke the mist, and that, like I said, triggered like the facehuggers inside. Let them know that, like there's a
Well, it was
live
also
hope.
the light that he shined on it too.
Yeah, yeah. So like there was like it got a signal pretty much. Like they were in that mist right there. They were in a form of stasis.
Yeah. Also, the drips. It's almost like an anti-gravity drips that they have.
Mm-hmm. And the deleted scene in Alien, Brett appears to be turning into an alien egg. People think it is a way for the xenomorph to go on without a queen. It's a possibility. Like I said, like it's like as like that was added to the lore prior, like after this film, and that is like queens can be like they can live for hundreds, if not that, like close to 1,000 years. So they had to figure out some way because it's kind of like bees, where it's like there's like only really one queen born in a hive, pretty much. You can't have more than one. So, and if you're not part of a hive, you're part of a hive that doesn't have a queen, we gotta figure out a way to move forward because you have to preserve the species. So there could possibly be a possibility. But
well, that's why they introduced number 6 into the AVP series, because number 6, after getting broken off from a hive, ended up evolving herself into a queen.
Yeah. I kind of want to play this without sound so people can see, like like this is where the egg opens up.
Yeah.
So you see, like he's seeing some movements happening. Organic life. And you have to think like the amount of force for this facehugger. Like the egg opens up, and he's wearing a spacesuit. He's wearing a helmet, so would have had to like the amount of force it would have to break the visor on the helmet.
Not only that, it kind of just melts right through the damn thing.
Yeah,
that never made sense to me. How it melts through.
If it has
maybe it's like acid saliva or something.
Yeah, I'm saying, like there had to be like because the alien itself has acid blood, so there had to be like some form of acid that it could use.
Yeah. But then again, that would damage Kane's face.
If it only needed to damage the visor enough to get through.
Yeah, because we also do learn that the blood oxidizes, or that the acid blood oxidizes rather quickly after a while.
Yeah. So
I could. There's no oxygen there, though.
Yeah.
True.
So.
Well, also when you see the facehugger moving around inside the egg, that's Ridley Scott's hand wearing a dishwasher's glove.
Mm-hmm.
Practical effects. Works like a charm.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the 70s, folks.
Yeah.
Movie magic.
A dishwashing glove is better than anything Disney's done.
Mm-hmm. And they use KY jelly in this movie, too.
Lots of it.
Yep.
Lube up, ladies.
Yeah, pretty much. The slime used on the alien was KY jelly, and then the shredded condoms were used to create tendons of the beast's ferocious jaws. So you got KY jelly and condoms used. Hey,
imagine
it worked.
Getting those for the movie.
Yeah,
like, it's totally for a movie. Like what kind
totally
of movie?
for a movie. Yeah.
H.R. Giger.
Yeah,
dude was so perverse.
Condom and lube.
Yeah, so yeah. So like I said, like not a lot of people know that. Like, like when you see the slime in some scenes, that is lubricant. That is like literally KY jelly being used. And it
call
works.
it the porn industry. This is Ridley. Yeah. We need to call it the porn industry. How is this gonna go down? Yeah, we need to borrow some of your KY, some of your condoms, and don't ask us why, just do it.
Yeah. Yeah,
it actually happened to me at the store. Because I had gotten a bad sunburn on one of my arms.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to the store to get like some kind of lotion or something to put on it. So I bought a lotion bottle and new dishwashing gloves. And the cashier lady was staring at me like she was trying to hold back laughter.
I'm trying to hold back laughter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So but yeah. So like I said, like not a lot of people know, but at the same time, it's like again. You work with what you can get. You work. This was like the time before the CGI we had, the green screens we have, and so forth. So whatever they could get for practical effects, they got. So KY jelly looks slimy. It looks slimy when you think about it, and it works. So like it basically just like goes into like how creative the team behind Alien was, like the practical effects team behind Alien, because not only do they have to come up with like an overall. Like with H.R. Geiger, like designing the xenomorph, which becomes like iconic in itself, but they have to come up with, okay, like the alien has, it's like when it opens its jaws, it's going to have like this type of slime. So what are we going to use? What are we going to use to create that? All right, like what can they use? What do they have on hand? No pun intended. That they can use for that. Same with the blood for the alien. It's supposed to be acid blood. So forth, but you can't exactly use real acid, so they use whatever they have to create the effects. And I think just like the minimal effects around the creature, like excluding the design itself, for me works because you don't need to see the creature. In my opinion, you don't need to see the creature really. I prefer not seeing it. Quite frankly, I think my imagination is a lot scarier than what a lot of people in Hollywood can come up with, especially nowadays. Because they're all about showing everything and leaving nothing to the imagination.
Yeah. Well, we have an audience that needs to be spoon-fed everything now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's showing in the movies.
Mm-hmm. That's why I like the older films where you didn't see much blood, or even you really didn't even see the kill. You only really saw the aftermath of the kill. So it left you, the audience, pretty much to come up with, okay, what did the slasher do in this scene for the corpse to look like this, pretty much. You don't need to see everything.
It's so we're gotten to a point where gore is just added for shock value. But it's gotten cringe now almost when they make stuff too gory, because it's like, yeah, you're trying too hard,
What a mess.
Gore.
Not really a lot. I was just talking about how they used the practical effects they had, and how I feel like we didn't exactly need to see the alien for the most part in this film, because it leaves it up to the imagination of the audience. And I think the audience's imagination can come up with something more terrifying, particularly now, that Hollywood come up with, since they always want to show us everything rather than let us come up with how, like, the slasher or killer or whatever it would be in the movie, how he or she goes about dispatching the main characters. So,
indeed.
But anyway, yeah, Mara's imagination terrifies you. Well, I mean,
that's ironic. She bashes me for mine.
Because you're perverted.
D&D.
Because you're perverted. So you are.
No.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that slow denial there. Anyway.
I was thinking it through, actually.
Okay, but anyway. Anyway. So, I'm trying to skip through. Okay, like I said, there's a lot of build up. Like I said, I'm not saying that's a negative. I'm not saying it's a negative. I want to get to the key moments. Because Kane has that facehugger attached to him, what they believe is constricting his airflow, but it's really just holding on to him because it doesn't want to be removed.
The slow build up also is there to make us root for the characters a bit, because it fleshes them out.
Yeah. Because here, it's like they're all standing around here. You got Parker on the left. There's Kane. He's awake. Ripley in the back. Dallas, Lambert, Brett. Obviously, Ash in front because he's a science officer. So he's like, hey, it's like they're not just basically leaving Kane to die. Even though Ripley was the smart one. At least, she had the smart decision, because she wanted to leave Kane out there, because she said per the regulations, because we don't know what this thing is that's on him, he has to be quarantined. They can't come on the ship for 24 hours roughly.
Yep. 24
And it's Ash
hours.
that let them in. So Ash went over, because I believe the warrant officer would outrank the science officer, went over Ripley and opened the hatch and let them in. Right?
Yeah, and no doctor would do that if you risk contamination, especially
No.
in space.
Which is
That's
basically
a
another
big
clue
red
that
flag.
big red
Mhm.
flag there. Big red flag there. All right, so I like how it's again like they're red flags, but not necessarily that like points to what Ash actually is. Just that there's something off about him. There's something like suspicious about him.
There's
Whereas-
something he knows that no one else
Yeah.
does.
Yeah, it's like okay, like it makes you wonder at this point. All right, why was he added to this crew? Like really, why was he added to this crew? Like it starts making you think. All right, I want to get to the iconic scene.
Yeah, let's get it off
Okay.
our chest.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Let's just
Again,
delve into it.
I'm going to play this, so I apologize to anyone with weak stomachs. All right. But I'm going to kind of play this because it's at this point. All right. And this is done, like I said, in 2 takes. They're edited together, so it looks like 1 take, like 1 shot. But it's actually 2. But the reactions in the first one that you see with the initial burst, those are genuine because the cast was not told how much blood would spray out and what exactly was going to happen, essentially. So the reactions you see on these actors' faces is genuine. They are genuinely shocked at what happens. But to their credit, and I can't say a lot about this much for current actors and actresses in Hollywood, they stayed in character. Because John Hurt, he stays still for a bit and then starts spasming again. And they go, these, Parker, Brett, Lambert, Dallas, Ripley, they all go back into character to hold him down. All right, they don't break character, at least how it was shot. They don't break character. So that says a lot about it. But anyway, here it is. So I'm going to try to get to where he's actually... Okay, yeah, what's the matter?
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
the special, folks.
This
Yeah,
is
the
another red
special.
flag. He's supposed to be the science officer, supposed to be the doctor. And he should have been immediately up.
Yeah, he's
Again,
studying
going
him.
at it. Yeah, he's
Yeah, it's
studying him.
What's going on? What's going on? This is serious. That's
Yeah.
actually in the freaking
Yeah. So you
subtitles.
see Parker trying to put it something in Kane's mouth so he doesn't bite his tongue off.
Spoon.
I want to
yeah.
get the reaction. So here,
Yeah. That's what you
This-
get when you eat vegan.
yes. So this right here. So that where she screams, Tom Skerritt's reaction, and Parker just stops. Those are genuine. Yeah. These are genuine reactions. I'm kind of supposed to be muted. So you still heard some sound. But that's genuine reaction. Those faces right there. That was Ridley Scott making sure that. And here's the chest buster. So, in this case, you get at least a gauge of what this creature could possibly look like if it got bigger. But for the most part, you think, as the audience, this is about as big as it gets. It busts out of Kane's chest. All right, and who stops him? Chat, co-host, who stops them from killing this creature?
Ash.
Ash. No,
Ash.
no, don't touch it.
Yes. Now again, to play devil's advocate, I could kind of see where Ash is coming from because he's the science officer. He wants to study this thing, but at the same time, again, another red flag.
Well, not only that, if you really think about it, this thing was or seems to have been birthed by a creature that bled acid. So,
Yeah.
what if stabbing it causes another acidic splash?
Yeah, and in some way, all of Ash's actions can be justified. at this
Mhm.
point, because he let the guy in, through the hatch, and the audience would be, good. Then maybe they can save him now, right?
Yeah.
And even with this, stay away from it. It has acid blood. It
Yeah.
it can all be justified, but it all starts to add up too. That this guy has an agenda.
It all starts to add up. Like, again, it's like speaks to how this character is portrayed on screen, where a lot of this early on can be explained. It can be maybe not exactly defended, but it can be explained. There is some plausibility to his actions. But then when you get to the big reveal near the end of the movie on Ash's true purpose and so forth, everything leading up to it makes sense. Why he let them back in, why he stopped them from killing the chestbuster and so forth. Like every little decision he was making and choices he was making, it all begins to add up. So anyway. So let's get. So I'm not exactly going to be on this stream for long, because I don't want to be going too much into scene by scene pretty much premise.
Yeah.
But this is probably one of the most iconic scenes in movie history.
Yeah, definitely.
Right here.
Especially horror movie history.
And it looks around. I love how the chestbuster just looks around. Like, it's intelligent. It's not just don't touch it. All right.
Yeah, you all are fucking freaky. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
That's basically, it's like, yeah, you all are pretty much going to try to kill me. It's a little too bright in here. I need to find someplace nice and dark and damp.
Yeah, I just want to get a shot of it running off the table. It gives a little screech.
Right here. Yeah, right there.
I mean, it's not hard to get a good shot. It's hard to get a good shot, but it just scurries off the table, screeching.
The scurrying scene, though, doesn't look good.
No, it's clearly on a track.
I'm not going to play sound because I might get claimed. So I don't like playing sound, because then sometimes it might trigger something on YouTube. So
yeah, and Amazon definitely loves to fucking do shit. Yeah. So does freaking Fox. I mean, they will claim your ass in a heartbeat on or for YouTubers.
Yeah. So it's Slither to the Rec Room. Yeah, which he was playing. Yeah. So John Hurt would recreate the scene for fans. Yeah, Sieg mentioned that. Yeah. So you did it. We love doing it. Another good John Hurt performance, I would say, if you have not seen this movie, the adaptation of George Orwell's 1984. So if you've not seen John Hurt's performance in that, I'd say worth the watch. He plays the title character Winston Smith.
He also played a similar-ish role in V for Vendetta, where he played the villain president on the screen.
High Chancellor Sutler. I want everyone to remember why they need us.
Okay, this is where they must find the cat, Jones, the cat.
Oh, yeah.
That's a plot hole, kind of. Because how did the cat get inside the closet and close it?
The alien did it.
Because that's not possible. The cat climbed into the closet and locked it? No.
Cats can use their paws to knock shit off tables, Steve. Do you honestly think that they can't open and close doors?
Yes.
Our cats have gone into areas I would imagine they wouldn't be able to get into. So I'm not
to answer Trey Courtney. Yes, he was in Harry Potter. He played Ollivander. Yeah,
he played Ollivander. So rest in peace, John Hurt. So I think it was his last role was Ollivander.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Or he came back for the one of the doctors. For Dr.
John Hurt would have made a great Bilbo if they had made a Hobbit movie in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't they do an animated version?
Is a closet automatic? It could be. It could be out
No,
of
it's a
like they don't
lock.
really explain
It's a
that.
regular locker. So,
Yeah.
But anyway, so this is where Brett goes to look for it, and trying to skip through some parts because he's going to look for Jones, and this is he's the first victim. All right,
You should see the extended.
and here's like he's found the skin. It's like it's shed like a snake. What a snake would do when a snake gets bigger. It sheds its skin.
in the extended version, in one of the wide shots, you actually see the alien hanging there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
in the
gonna say this
background.
is the director's cut, so we should be able to see it.
I think
The director's cut actually is the same, or it's actually a few seconds lesser than the theatrical, believe it or not.
So here's the alien, but I'm trying to see if I can see it hanging. Like it's so dark,
Hmm.
and doesn't exactly like
Yeah.
let you stop on certain places. Either.
yeah, it's when he enters the chamber and sees. Yeah, I think maybe it's there.
Yeah,
I
it
think
is.
here you see a little bit, but you can't really see it clearly.
Yeah, you see it a bit better in another
Yeah,
shot.
but
But it's
But again, you see the skin, but you don't imagine it to be as big as it is.
Yeah.
And he's the first victim because he's again trying to find a cat, trying to find what he believes to be a small alien. And here's start of like where you see the face. I know kind of what the face looks like, so it's not exactly a surprise, but surprise is how big it is.
This thing's original lips actually had like nictating lips. It had the clear lips, then it had the normal lips, and then it had the mouth underneath,
Yeah,
which is something they never did in the later films either.
yeah. And the 1,000 director's cuts, yeah, pretty much. But I love how
Dan-
like he's pulled
Dan
up, right? He's
Capta
pulled up
didn't-
by the xenomorph, right?
yeah, it's
And you
carried
don't
away.
really see, you don't really see everything that happens. You just see the shots and of Jones the cat and the sound of Brett.
Yeah,
being
damn
killed.
cat didn't even fight for his crewmate. Damn traitor.
It's like, get the fuck away from me. That thing's freaky. Oh, wow. It finally took him. I like this thing. That's how evil cats are, folks.
Mm-hmm.
That cat was now essentially rooting for the alien.
In
Yeah.
in Norway back in the day, this movie was called The Eighth Passenger.
Yeah, and these two come up because they hear Brett. They're not far behind them, and see this blood just coming down onto Parker. You see his shirts,
Yep.
and that's where they find out. Yeah, like this, like no, like this is not something small we're looking for now. It's now taking Brett.
It's as big as a man.
Yeah, because you see him come up, and like Parker does see it. Because he just says in the next scene, he's describing it.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to get to his line. It was big. Yeah, it's like whatever it was big. Whatever it was big. And I want to get to the shots of Dallas because this is where we like one of the few times we like before the end where we see it clearly. When Dallas is in the vents. I'm trying to get to that scene. All right, this is where Lambert's giving him directions. Dallas, move, Dallas. All right, because Dallas has gone into the vents.
Yeah, not that way, the other way. Hello, honey.
Yes, it's like big mistake was going in by himself. Second biggest was listening to a woman give him directions. It was an hysterical woman give him directions. All right.
Boy, Lethal's really imprinted
Right,
on.
so it's a blink and you miss it shot. Yeah. But yeah, like you see, like it was a blink and you miss a shot, but you do see like real fast
Yeah.
a frontal
like-
shot of the xenomorph
Yeah.
It's like,
reaching.
give me a hug.
Yes, like just like real fast, like just scream. Like again, I've said this before. Jump scares in themselves are not bad. They are not bad. It's when they are improperly used is when they're bad. When they're overly used is when they're bad. Pretty much. When you can call them a mile away, it's when they're bad. Here, I fucking jumped when this scene happened because I knew that something was going to go down, but like, you know, what had been established beforehand was we weren't going to see it necessarily or whatever, because like we don't see exactly what happens with Brett or anything like that. And then the xenomorph is just like surprise.
Would you agree if I said that horror movies should manage to be scary without jump scares, and that the jump scares are just extras?
I think movies can, but at the same time, like I said, jump scares in themselves aren't bad.
Well,
If there's proper tension and apprehension built up.
Yeah.
Which is what they've had here so far in this movie. So yeah, I think horror movies could do it. They could do it without, because like I said, what they've done is they've made jump scares so what was I gonna say? So common now that you can call them a mile away.
It's replaced writing, and most of the best horror movies, you know, that ever made don't have jump scares. I mean, The Exorcist, I don't think has any. The Omen, I don't think has any as well.
The Exorcist, I just recently watched that, so I did a review back on it in November or October. I think it's the version you've never seen, or the director's cut, if you will, that they introduced, I think, one or two jump scares, or one jump scare, which was they consider the vomit scene a jump scare.
Mm-hmm.
The first one where it's like, ah! And there you go.
Yeah. So, but like I said, they've made them so common nowadays. It's like I'm not saying like I would. It could have like one or two. Like I wouldn't mind, but they make it so where it's like it's a jump scare and nothing happens. It's just there to get an audience reaction, and it's like it doesn't do anything to the plot or anything. And there's no build up. It's just loud noise and whatever. Like someone jumps out in front of you on the screen, pretty much. So, but yeah. So
also, sorry. Exorcist also had another jump scare with when the demon screams out Marin when he comes into the house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sorry, movie buff folks, gotta point it out.
Yeah. Well, that's excellent. You know,
something like I don't have a problem with movies having one or two or whatever, or at least well placed jump scares. But like Trey said, like now, like they have like 50.
Yeah.
So it's like you can call them a mile away, pretty much.
Paranormal Activity was nothing but jump scares.
Yeah.
I could not look away from those movies. I just sat there staring. Like, did that coffee cup move?
I know, right?
I fell for every damn jump scare in it.
Yeah. It really keeps your attention, and then it's just like jump scare, jump scare, jump scare, jump scare. And you're pretty much walking out of there with heart palpitations.
Mm-hmm. Again, for those who are just joining the chat, we're not going through this scene by scene because I don't want to be like talking about these movies necessarily for a long time because we're now going on an hour and a half, and I want to get to what ends up being the big reveal. Because right now, following Brett's death is a survival tale. You think basically the entirety of the crew needs to come together and survive, right? Because even from the red flags from Ash, you don't really suspect anything. But then you have one major reveal. Try and get to it. I fucking love. All right. Trying to get to this scene. Oh, okay. We're gonna jumped back a little bit. So I'm gonna get to where she's reading the message from Mother.
Oh. Other orders.
I'm gonna get to like when she sees a message. Come on.
Go about.
Yeah, I'm trying to get.
Yeah, there you go. You're about a minute or minute backward.
Yeah. I must put the message on screen. All right.
There you go.
Fucking like.
Just play
Anyway.
it from there.
Yeah. Hold on. I was gonna get the last message prior one. Secondary. Crew expendable.
Yep. All other.
So she's finding this
considerations.
she's finding this message. And she's now she, along with the audience, have discovered pretty much Ash's true purpose on this as part of this crew. As part of like being added to this crew. That is ensuring the capture basically and return of the organism for analysis. It says all of the considerations are secondary, meaning all our considerations, the safety of the crew, don't give a fuck or anything like that. They're expendable. You
And-
like Raven says, you is fuck.
Yep.
And how long has it been there?
So yeah, because what's the implication is that it was hidden from the crew. All right, there was like something. There was like it's like she had to basically dig for this message. Because dig, I guess not. Because like mother, they call it mother pretty much.
Officer override, basically.
Yeah,
In order to identify the order.
Yeah, because it was hidden from the crew. You
Yeah.
know, you would think. So I'm not saying that the crew would have been told about this, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, the crew expendable is the most ominous quote there. Because it tells the audience that this company that they work for doesn't give a rat's ass if any of them survive. As long as Ash does and the organism for analysis. That's it.
Which also becomes a common thread through the series.
Yeah, which is one of my annoyances a little bit with even with Aliens because they recycle this
Yeah.
and it's like okay, I'm fine, like whatever. But there it is. All right, and here's where we find out the reveal of what Ash is. All right, so we just kind of skip forward a little bit because he's fighting Ripley. He's going to kill her here.
In a most
Okay.
perverse way.
Yeah.
I'm sure
And-
there's some messaging there, given that he's using a porn magazine.
Exactly.
But that method is actually an ancient Roman method. They used to
Mhm.
execute people like that using thick sticks. They
Mhm.
shoved it down their throats. And it works because I had to get rid of a Jehovah's Witness lady last week. She would not go away from my front door, so I grabbed the Conan magazine and shoved it
Oh my
down her
God.
throat, bent her over the staircase outside, and it works. She passed out. Fucked off, too.
Yeah. But anyway, big reveal. Ash is not human. Ash is not human. He's an android.
I like the musical cues they have with that too. As soon as
Mhm.
his head gets smacked off, it's like "Drrrng."
Yeah.
Also, a little bit of trivia. The androids in the first 4 movies.
Ash Bishop Call.
Yeah, ABC.
Yeah.
They all, but then that line was broken though. When they used the guy in the new Alien movie.
David?
Yeah.
Or then there was David, and then there was
Walter.
yep, Walter. They broke
Yeah.
they did break it.
Yeah, F around and find out it's Stig's. How did she leave after she passed out, Stig?
She wasn't there the next day.
All right. So, you forgot that little tidbit of information, but here's like one of the other big reveals in this movie, and that Ash is an android. That's why he was added at the last minute, and why he's been able to survive this long, pretty much. Because
Also,
the alien can't impregnate him.
he's always drinking white fluid
Yeah.
in the movie.
So I'm gonna get all right. So here's where through exposition.
This is after Parker had sex with him.
Oh God. We're like one of the few times where I'll accept exposition as part of the dialogue, and that is basically where Ash is being interrogated by Ripley, Lambert, and Parker about why he was.
Sorry, nothing. I was talking to myself.
Why he was added as why he was added to the crew, and he has the audacity at the end where it's like he's like, I'm not going to pretend like that your chances of survival are like you're basically good. But you have my sympathies. I was like,
and then he smiles.
Then he smiles like, you fucker. It's just like how Ian Holmes delivers it. Like that's like testament to like how good of an actor he is.
Oh, he's a 10 out of 10 when it comes to acting.
Yeah.
That man was, or I believe he was a theater trained actor, right?
Oh yeah,
he was theater trained. So it says, according to Sir Ian Holm, here's a little bit of trivia for this scene. Ash's head contains spaghetti, cheap caviar, and onion rings.
Oh, yeah.
There's interesting. Yeah, see? Right there. Spaghetti.
What?
I'll highlight it again. My screen again, see? According to Sir Ian Holm, Ash's head, all right, so like, say that like what's down around like his neck area, things like that, so, what's kind of like where his neck area is, contains spaghetti, cheap caviar, and onion rings.
Oh.
Not to mention, this scene alone put the entire porn industry to shame in the 70s, folks.
Yeah.
All the male porn stars were extremely jealous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was just too much to swallow.
Yeah. So I'm going to get to, like his dialogue where he's, all right. Priority 1, all the priorities rescinded. So basically, everything else, forget about it.
Yeah.
What about our lives? How do we do it?
I repeat, all other freaking priorities rescinded.
You can't. Like, you can't defeat it. You can't beat it, pretty much.
Yeah. I love when Lambert tells him or says it's like, you admire it. I admire its purity.
Yeah.
It's not bound by the moralities of I'm
gonna get to that line. Yeah.
Yeah. Its structural perfection is matched only by its hostility.
Yeah.
One of the main themes in this movie, according to Ridley Scott, is male rape and pregnancy, which is also why Ash tries to kill Ripley the way he does. It's a rapey thing.
So like, there's also like the thoughts around like the shape of the xenomorph's head and the design, the phallic nature of the head. But at the same time, it's like I think that became kind of a coincidence since Ripley went from a male character to a female character.
Yeah, the facehugger looks like a twat.
Yeah. Are you ready for the new Disney Alien trilogy? Ripley's granddaughter, Ray Wayland, will be saving the universe from xenomorphs. Her brother, fucking
Carlo Utani.
Carlo Utani, yeah, I'm ready. I'm so ready. Yeah. But anyway, it's a purity.
Yeah.
It's a perfect organism. Yeah. So I'm gonna get to where. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna get to that line.
Yeah.
I can't lie to you about your chances. So basically, you're fucked.
Yeah, but you have my sympathies.
I mean,
that is just like the coldest send off.
Yeah, but you have my sympathies. Like you're fucked, but you have my sympathies. It's one of the.
Yeah, it's like fuck you.
Definitely using that on D&D.
Oh my god. Yeah, you have my sympathies, bruh. Yes. So,
now,
this is basically near the end of the movie, pretty much. It's down to Ripley, Lambert, and Parker, and
in the in the theatrical edition, I believe that's the end of it. They discuss blowing up the ship, but in the special edition, I do believe that Parker fries Ash.
Yeah, I'm gonna think. Hold on, Yeah, right here. See,
Yeah,
he turns around and just like fries Ash.
it's like fuck you if you want to give us a last word like that.
Yeah. But anyway, basically, so really they're not really clear because at this point, Ash is gone, Kanan's obviously dead, Brett's gone, Dallas is gone, Ash is gone. It's down to the remaining three: Lambert, Parker, and Ripley. And there's really no clear if Parker dies before Lambert or Lambert dies before Parker, because they're not really clear about that. You don't see either of them die, but pretty much based on their scenes that they're gone for. They're done for. They're gone. All right, and that ends with like pretty much a final girl trope in a sense, and that is Ripley, because he is the last survivor. All right, and I love how it ends with her. She escapes the Nostromo, but she's not out of the proverbial woods yet. Because the Xenomorph is smart. The Xenomorph is gauging the situation pretty much and realizes that it's the prey is escaping, and it's, how do I put this, stows away on the escape pod. And I love when Ripley realizes that, because it's like another iconic shot. Again, this movie is like replete with iconic scenes or shots. All right, I'm going to try to find it because Ripley, I like one big positive I'll say, just my own personal, and that is Joan survives.
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna flat out say I don't like that the other humans die, but Joan survives. So I'm gonna get to the scene where she realizes the alien. Okay, she's gotten to the escape vessel. All right, she's gone to the escape vessel, and she's escaping. You think, okay, she's out of the woods. She survived. She's the lone survivor. All right. It's like, I got you. She blew up the ship. I got you. All right. And she thinks she's safe. She puts Jones in there. And she's now pretty much at her most vulnerable. She's just nearly naked. And what does she find? Look at that. Right there.
A phallus.
Right there. See that shape right there, chat? I like how she sees the creature, but she doesn't scream or anything like that. She just backs up. All right, like shit's gonna go down, so I'm gonna get into something that's gonna help protect me. Pretty much. Lantern says, in the OG ending, they didn't film. The alien removes Ripley's vocal cords and tells Earth she's on her way back, even without that ending. I like how very few people survive in the series. I'm happy that they didn't do that. Because she backs up, gets into a spacesuit, and she sees the creature kind of like peek its head out. All right. And so forth. All right. So again,
Really tense scene.
yeah, I'm saying she doesn't scream or anything. She just backs up towards where the spacesuit is stored, or the closet area, whatever you want to call it, and just slowly gets into the suit. It's like she realizes she's not out of the woods. She doesn't panic. She doesn't get hysterical or anything like that, much like Lambert did. She's calm. She's collected. She gets a weapon. It's like, okay. And she starts singing. And I believe it's supposed to be a song that she's was singing to her daughter, because she does have a daughter, but I didn't mention her character has a daughter.
Yep.
And we find out in the second one that Ripley missed literally her daughter's just about her entire life, because how long Ripley has been out in space.
Yeah, those cryotubes are no joke.
Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna just play this. She starts singing. Okay. Come on, it kind of calms the nerves. You are my lucky star. It's look, she's watching the alien. See how it's kind of like blends in with the tubing so
Oh, yeah.
perfect. It's hard to get like a good shot of the light of the strobe effect. Like, and I love how like Sigourney Weaver's expression. Like, she is scared. She's scared. Like, she's still scared. Yeah, 75 years. She missed her daughter, like literally entire life.
One of the things that they don't fully explain is that xenomorphs have 6 fingers. These 2 fingers and like 2 kind of semi-opposable thumbs.
Yeah.
Which they actually showed in the theatrical edition.
I believe so. I didn't watch the movie like, recently, but I do remember a lot of it. But like, it is like, you do find out about her background pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
You do find out about her enough about her background that tells you about her character pretty much and why she's making certain decisions, why she's upset at the beginning of the second one and so forth when she realizes how long she's been away. So like at one point she was married. Now she's going through a divorce, and you find out she had a daughter that is now dead when the Aliens starts, pretty much, because of how long they try to get. So she straps herself in. I'm just gonna play this a little bit. All right. I love the strobe effect. So the alien worms its way out from where it was hiding.
Now, it almost looks like the thing is creeping up on the back of her right.
Yeah.
But she ends up looking left.
Yeah.
It's like, ma'am, can I give you a kiss?
like, let me tell you about our Lord and Savior Prometheus. Pretty much.
No. Our Lord
Right,
and Savior, the Deacon.
The Deacon. Well, there you go. But anyway, she opens up a vent. Now I'm showing some of this stuff because there's a movie that came out in the late 50s, right? It was released in the late 50s, made in the late 50s, released in the late 50s, where elements in Alien, elements of that movie are borrowed and shown in here, all right? I'm going to show you all what that movie is, pretty much. Not saying that it's a negative against Alien, because there have been like instances where directors or screenwriters have borrowed certain elements from other movies, because you can't exactly go through the entirety of Hollywood history and not see repeats of certain plot points or elements or anything like that. Big example, and I'm going to trigger Rhino somewhere, but George Lucas was inspired by Japanese samurai films, so you see that a lot within, the design of Darth Vader's helmet, things like that, and as well as the Throne of Blood film for elements within Star Wars. So it's not beyond the realm that we would only see that we wouldn't see any repeats in certain movies, pretty much.
Pretty sure Rhino just sneezed.
Yeah, he somewhere somewhere his Star Wars senses was tingling, pretty much. All right.
Yeah, his head just turned. It's like somebody just say Star Wars.
It did the Doc Brown. He went Great Scott.
Not Black Hole. Not Black Hole. I think Alien's probably inspired by Green Slime, but you'll see. You'll see. But anyway, this is how she defeats the Xenomorph, pretty much. It's not exactly dead, or anything like that, because we can find out, I guess it can breathe in in multiple atmospheres, but she ejects it. She ejects it, and it's last thing, it's out and trying to grasp onto the ship, hold on for dear life. That's why she straps herself in, and she shoots it, and now it's out, and she closes. See? So I love those special effects. It's holding on to the ship, so she sees where it's crawling. She's smart. She sees where it's crawling in, so okay. And
burn, baby, burn.
Burn, bitch, burn, pretty much. Yeah.
Instead of flame, they have a lot of water and condensation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess
Maybe it's hydropowered.
Yeah, it's hydropower, things like that. But anyway,
Liquid O2.
Yeah. And now she is the final girl.
Yep.
She is the final girl. All right. Okay. So I'm going to say this. I'm like touching on certain things. All right. In this to show you elements that were taken from another movie. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing this screen. I'm going to share an IMDb page. All right. Okay. It, Terror from Beyond Space. All right. Okay. 1958. It, Terror from Beyond Space. I'm going to read some things, okay? From the plot synopsis. It's about a creature that gets onto a ship. Right? Opening scene. Okay. It's a first Mars mission. The existence of a rescue second ship is revealed and they have found, okay? So they're going to rescue one main character, Carruthers. And Carruthers is telling about how his crew died. He's the only survivor. The entirety of the crew died. Okay? Okay, I'm trying to scroll down. Okay? The crew are openly hostile to Carruthers with the exception of Anne Anderson, blah, blah, blah. She is not... Carruthers was driving the exploration jeep when they encounter a dust storm. Amid the confusion, the crew is picked up off the jeep by one. He could hear strange sounds and faint shadows moving through the dust and so forth. All right? So he's being rescued. And they find out, once they leave, once his crews leave, strange noise coming from the storage area. Curious, this character, Keinholz, investigates. Entering the room, he hears a strange animal noise before being attacked and killed by the creature seen earlier. All right, so the creature is stowed away, gotten on board. Now, getting on board is different, all right, but you have an element of a creature getting on board this ship and hiding and stowing away, all right, which is the xenomorph, pretty much, which is the xenomorph. Okay, higher up in the ship, Carruthers thinks he hears something and goes to investigate. Keinholz can't be found, and the crew begin extensive search of the ship. All right. So, this paragraph right here is where Dallas goes into the air vents. Crew complete the search as well as not finding Keinholz. They realize Gino is also missing. Investigating one of the air vents, Carruthers discovers Keinholz's body, and thinks might be one of the characters might be up in the crawl space and goes to check. He finds Gino near death. Before Purdue can aid him, he in turn is attacked. Escaping, he orders the crew to seal the air vent. So the creature is moving through the air vent, much like the xenomorph does. They realize this on the Nostromo. Okay? And then there's the use of a flamethrower. In this movie, it's a welder's torch. All right? With Carruthers being... Hold on. Okay, with Carruthers being the last survivor. Now, in this case, it's a male. Carruthers being the last survivor. The creature makes one last-ditch effort to break into the area controlled by the crew. It finally succeeds just as Carruthers triggers the venting process. The crew brace themselves as the air threatens to drag them out of the venting process. The creature is trapped by the same airflow, fights to save itself until finally, with the air gone, it dies. So, I'm not saying this necessarily to show, there's no creativity in Hollywood whatsoever, because you see elements from this movie make it into Alien. I'm saying simply this movie, elements of this movie inspired Alien.
They ripped it off a bit.
Similarities. Yeah, you see similarities. I'm saying, it's like watching as many movies as I have from Hollywood, you're going to see what could arguably be rip-offs or borrowing of certain elements. So basically, this movie, Alien, with major differences, is this plot right here. It's the Terror from Beyond Space.
Yeah, they definitely watched that movie, took the premise, and altered scenes around it.
Mm-hmm.
So I call it inspiration as well. It's not like a direct repeat. It's not, I'd say, a direct ripoff, but the overall plot premise is the same. You have a creature that somehow gets on board, uses the air vents to get around. You have one of the characters using a torch to fend off the creature. And it's ultimately defeated by being vented out.
And the male survives, and Ripley was written as a male character.
Yeah. So, I'm just like pointing this out. Like I don't think too many people know about this movie. It came out in 1958. It's set in 1973. It's like, a time when 73 from 1958 was the future, pretty much. But it came out in 1958, and I watched Alien first, and then I was told about this movie by my dad, years later. Watch it, and you see the similarities. You can't help but seeing the similarities between the two. I'll highlight your question, Lancer, as soon as it comes up on StreamYard's end, because it's a little slow. That's another thing too. I'm saying it's like you can't deny that there's like some inspirations. Like you could even argue that Gremlins getting on Gremlins as part of World War II lore essentially could have inspired Terror from Beyond Space. That same premise is there, pretty much. And it was made in 1958, not long after the end of World War II. So that whole mentality was still there. So you see how it progressed.
It's still plot points, though, and being inspired by an idea wouldn't result in the same plot.
So, I don't know if we are going to talk about Aliens next week. Now, whether it's on Wednesday or Thursday, it's going to be up in the air a little bit because I got to find out what day works for these two guys if they want to join in, and also a certain mode for Call of Duty comes out, Warzone 2.0, and I'm going to be talking with some other people about possibly playing with them, and Warzone 2.0 drops on November 16th. It drops on November 16th. So I'm going to talk to some people. But yes, we will be talking about Aliens. That's why I'm splitting them up a little bit.
I can answer that question right now. Just watch AVPR. Our modern military goes up against xenomorphs.
Yeah, so.
And they got slaughtered.
Because while we have tactics, the xenomorphs have numbers.
Yeah, they're swarm species. They're a hive species.
So I'd say what you can see of Alien versus Predator Requiem, it shows that. But I think that movie would have been better received for the most part if you could actually see what was going on in the fucking film.
Right. You know what's kind of the dumbest scene in it is when the sheriff enters the place that sells guns, right? And he asks, "Do you have any guns here?" And the guy turns to his left, and the camera turns a bit, and there's a lit wall with guns, even though the power is supposed to be out. And the sheriff in a small town doesn't know that they sell guns there.
Yeah. I'm not saying it would have been loved necessarily, but it would have been better received. But a lot of good amount of the scenes you can't see what's happening, so it's okay.
Premise was great, the execution was bad.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so there it is. Like I said, I wasn't going to go scene by scene in this film. I'm going to give our impressions basically of the movie Alien, elements of it that you see from a previous movie that came out in 1958 to the plot for Alien. The characters themselves. I like how the characters, just to go back to it, I like how the characters are. They have military ranks essentially, because you have warrant officer and so forth, executive officer, captain. But they themselves are normal people. And you have normal people basically up against an unnatural, unknown force. And I like that element to it. I like that element to it. Yeah. I like that element to it. So where it's they're not heroes. They're just forced into that situation where they have to survive and step up, pretty much. Whereas Aliens, I do like that military element. I do very much like it. But Oh yeah, okay. I'll get to that, Stig. We'll get to that. I do like I do like the military, but at the same time, it's like I prefer the survival aspect, like the straight up survival aspect of Alien. So before we sign off, all right, now that we've gone through all the characters, now that we've gone through the plots and so forth, I'm gonna start with Orange Chat. Okay, we're gonna exclude Ripley. She's a very fucking easy answer to say. Like, which of these characters is your favorite? We're gonna exclude Ripley, all right?
Parker.
Which of the other characters? Parker? All right. And why would you say Parker?
Because he was the smart one. It's like, kill this thing, like now. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't care if the science officer says no, just kill the fricker. If I have no arm after stabbing this thing to death, so be it. At least I just saved everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was the smart one. He was the one that built the weapons. He was the one that basically was willing to do what needed to be done and didn't give no fucks. I mean, Parker was just great in this film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Lance
Also
loves
the-
Parker's humor. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, Stieg. Cast the best character.
Well, my favorite in this movie,
Mhm.
even more so than Ripley too, is Ash.
All right. Why Ash?
Ash is he's awesome. He's slimy. He's yeah, fucking everything up. Tries to choke Ripley with a porn mag. I mean, that's never been done before. You know, the guy's
Or
creative.
since.
Yeah, but yeah, Ash, best actor in the movie too.
Yeah.
All
Plus,
right.
he gives that
Okay.
grin at the end.
Yeah.
You
That's
have
smile.
Yeah.
sympathies, and then he grins.
Last
Yeah.
word, and he got it.
Yeah, he's even grinning as he's burning.
Yeah.
He's the only real survivor of the series. Yeah, because so season 4 doesn't go after him. But for me, I'd probably be in agreement with Orange Hats. If like excluding Ripley, my next favorite character would be Parker. I do like Tom Skerritt's performance as Dallas for the most part, just because he's not like a military captain. He's basically just a manager who's put into the position where he has to lead, like he is part of a captain in the military.
Yeah.
But I like Parker. Because one of my roles in the school district, when it's part like when I was early on, like working for the school district, was maintenance, and I was a sergeant in the Air Force, so I do have that perspective of shit coming down from the top and basically hitting us those on like the lowest rung pretty much, and like having to deal with stupid decisions the higher ups make and everything, and having like to fix their messes pretty much. So I have that perspective where I relate to both him and Brett in terms of that pretty much. But I think like Parker stands out from Brett because Parker has that personality to him, that boisterousness. So when he's like teasing Ripley, it's like you can't help but kind of, even though he's acting annoying, you kind of can't help but laugh because of how he's kind of kicking Ripley off slowly, elevate, poking the bear constantly in that scene to the point where it's like
Yeah.
he sleeps.
Nobody likes people poking the bear.
So I poke the bear all the fucking time.
Hmm.
Oh, you're gonna disagree with me after I threatened to send you cunt candles from Gwyneth Paltrow?
She does that.
Yeah, I
I'm not
do.
even kidding. I think she's up to 100 now.
Yeah. He's our DM chat for D&D, so yeah, he gets threatened with Paltrow candles constantly.
Yeah.
But yeah, as I'm saying, like I know all about also poking the bear. I do it. But anyway, that is the Alien discussion. I didn't want to go for too long, pretty much, because we're at the 2-hour mark, and I'm going to be talking about.
Stunning and Brave Megatron says you have a cunt candle stash. When I read that, the first thing that popped into my head was Mara leaving the warehouse in Indiana Jones 1 with a crate of cunt candles, like fetching a crate rather than placing it.
Yeah, that that whole warehouse is like That whole warehouse is my stash. All I need to do is pull a crate out, pretty much.
It's
you
in
might
Area
find the Ark of the
69.
Covenant. Yeah, you might find the Ark of the Covenant as well there, but for the most part, it's conch candles.
Yeah.
But anyway, yes, I threatened him with that. But anyway, we're on the 2-hour mark, pretty much. So I want to thank the chat for hanging out with us. We will be talking about aliens next week. And I will let these guys know when I know for sure when I'll be grouping up with some other players for Warzone 2.0, when that will work pretty much. And so it might be Wednesday, it might be Thursday. We might have to switch to Thursday. So I'll ask them, figure out if those days are good for them, if they want to join. But next week will be Aliens. So if you want to participate in the conversation, I'm going to have to watch this again because, like I said, I know Alien. I love Alien. I'd have to rewatch Aliens. I don't have an Alien poster yet because we didn't go to the convention that we normally go to in the summer. So I thought, oh, well, we'll go in October. He might be there. And the damn poster guy wasn't there. But I want to get an Alien and Aliens poster and put it up that part of the wall. See, like that blank area behind the head of my bed. I'm going to start filling that up with posters as well. I want to get an Alien and Aliens and so forth. So, as well as a Terminator and a T2 poster, but we'll see. Whatever he has, pretty much. But anyway, so before I play the outro, we're going to start with Stieg. Let everybody know where they can find you and all that fun stuff.
Teresa's channel on Saturday, the Smart Muses, doing the book stream thing.
All right. And you're on the
That's
Sword
it.
of Shanra, right?
No, we're done with that. We're now doing the Elf Stones of Shanra, the sequel.
Okay.
Which is better, actually.
All right. So, yeah, tune in for that. I believe that's at noon Eastern.
I think
Saturdays.
So.
Yeah. So, and Orange Chat, let everybody know what you have coming up, where they can find you and all that fun stuff.
Well, I'm Orange Hat Reviews. I do entertainment review, entertainment news, movie reviews. I'm going to be doing a live review tomorrow night for Wakanda Forever. Pray for me, folks. Every Tuesday morning around 10:30 a.m., I do mystery reviews. I have one set up for next week. I give hints during the week and also at the end of each stream to see if people can guess. The hints for this one coming up are JCVD and Bottom One. Do not spoil it if you know it, because I know that some people will. But I also have guest choice reviews where I bring people onto my channel and we discuss what a movie that they're picking. They get to choose the time and the date and the movie. And I will be doing one with my friend Eagle Rider, Rosetta Allen, where we're going to be discussing a documentary called Rumble, the Indians that rocked the world. And that's going to be Monday, I believe, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard.
Okay. Yep. So check him out here. It's his Twitter, and then I know here's his YouTube up here. So here it is. All right. So thank you, Trey, for posting those. And as far as me, I'll be live on Twitch tomorrow evening playing some more Call of Duty multiplayer to level up some guns prior to the launch of Warzone 2.0 next week. And then since I cannot stream Friday evening, I'm going to sneak in a cheeky afternoon stream on Twitch. I'm not sure when exactly in the afternoon, Friday, but it'll be most likely Destiny 2, where I can just jump on real fast, grind at the battle pass, I'll increase my light level, so forth, pretty much. And then, because you won't be seeing me on Talk Nerdy to Us on Saturday, I won't be able to be there for Talk Nerdy, so it'll be on Steph's channel, or should be on Steph's channel, let's put it that way. So you'll see her and Blabs talking about whatever Steph chooses to talk about. So I have no idea, pretty much. But yes, this is my Twitch. So you can come find me here tomorrow, around 7:30 p.m. Eastern or so, playing some Call of Duty multiplayer. And then, should everything go according to plan, I'll be playing and streaming Gotham Knights Sunday evening with Cowman. So yeah, 30 FPS is calling me, folks, and I'm going to be roasting the shit out of that game while I'm playing it. But my plan is Nightwing. My plan is to main as Nightwing. So if you want to see me rage at a game that should not have been released, at least not now, not until they fix the fucking bugs, it's Gotham Knights, pretty much. So tune in for that. It's about 7:30 p.m. or so Eastern Sunday. I figure I will. But I'm going to be playing with Calman, so we're going to figure out a time Sunday evening. So check that out a little bit later. Once I know for sure, I'll tweet it out. But thank you to Orange Hat Reviews and Stieg for this discussion for Alien, and next week will be Alien. So again, prepare for that. Prepare for that because we are going to go into our thoughts on the movie, some trivia, and all that fun stuff, pretty much. So game over, man. Game over. So good night. Stay safe. And always remember, I'll just say it, Maz is a Gronk. So, and pray for Lethal. He got his third account suspended again. So
Jesus Christ, again?
Well, for 6 days, for pretty much for a tweet. It triggered the automatic moderator.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was hilarious.
But anyway, pray for him. He's suspended off of Twitter for 7 days. So good night, everyone. Have a good rest of your day or evening. Peace.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.